This morning in Napoleonville with all the various state agencies as well as the industry. I want to thank the Governor's Chief of Staff, Colonel Edmondson, and all the support that we're getting now from the state. At the meeting this morning, we were advised by the Commissioner of Conservation that they have ordered Texas Brine to drill a investigatory relief well to go, in fact, get back into that Texas Brine cavern to check its integrity. I'm glad to say that's finally being done, because I think all of us felt that we wouldn't have any real answers until they got back into that cavern and could determine what the integrity is and possibly what the source is. But with that, for the residents here today, the plan is it will take between them planning the drill plan and doing the drilling, it's estimated to be anywhere between 38 to 40 days before that relief well or vent well, whatever it's being called, can get into the cavern. So with that, from the parish's perspective, like we did at the public meeting the other night, we won't feel a level of confidence to lift the evacuation until we have more answers from that well. So unfortunately for those here, the residents, it's anticipated that this evacuation order will stay in place for at least that time period required for them to get back into the well, the cavern, with that investigatory well, which is approximately 40 days from now. Then there's no guarantee that once they reach the well and after appropriate tests are conducted, that we're going to have any further answers, but hopefully we do. I have asked specifically Texas Brine officials at that meeting this morning to reach out to the persons under this evacuation order to offer some type of assistance. We at a parish level can offer gymnasium with cots and those types of things, but we're not very comfortable accommodations. We have asked them and we have urged them, Representative Sanjaman, myself, and other officials there, urged them, due to this particular issue of 40 days, to please reach out. We have identified it, and if we have requested all the evacuees in the area to provide us information, and we've been doing a survey, getting the information, names, address of all those persons under this mandatory evacuation. So we have that information for them. I can tell you on behalf of the parish, we are urging them to reach out to hopefully offer some type of assistance during this very stressful time period. I want to thank the state and other officials here for now providing their full support to this effort. And this time I'll turn it over to these various agencies.
Good afternoon, Sheriff Mike Wagasback. My first priority has been, since this sinkhole developed, is public safety and protection of property. For the next 40 days, you're going to see an increased presence of law enforcement, including state police. They've now moved in their command center. We'll be having daily briefings. There'll be cameras up in the air. So rest assured, we're going to do our level best to make sure your property is safe while you're evacuated. But as parish leaders, it's time for us to stand together and stand strong and hold Texas Brine's feet to the fire. There are no more excuses. There will be no more delays, and we will monitor it daily and brief you daily. So make no mistakes about it. Our eyes are open, and the state officials who are behind us today are fully engaged. The governor's office is fully engaged, and he is monitoring his people as well. So make no mistake about it. There are plenty of eyes on this problem. Our biggest priority is to get you back in your home. In the meantime, we want to keep you safe. So again, we appreciate your patience, and we'll be here to answer questions as this develops.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, Mr. President. Our goal to be here from your Louisiana State Police is help you return to normalcy, to get you back into your homes where you need to be, and also, most importantly, is make sure that you know what's going on. The public has a right to know what's going on. You have a right to know the answers of what's happening in your community. To say state police is going to be here, we live here. I've got a trooper that lives right down that road. I've got a dozen troopers that live in Assumption Parish. We're part of this community. We're here with you. And we're going to make sure we do every single thing we can to make sure that public safety, your safety, the greatest assets of this parish, the citizens, are our #1 priority. State police are going to be involved every single day, working with DEQ, working with the Department of Transportation Development, working with the Department of Natural Resources, working with GOSEP, the Governor's Office of Homeland Security, working with your staff, your community leaders, to make sure that when an order is put out, that it's done safely, when an order is put out, that everyone has had a chance to look at it. When a drilling starts, we want them here tomorrow to start that relief well. We're going to make sure they get here as quickly as possible, and they do it as quickly as possible, but they do it safely. And we're going to make sure the monitoring takes place all the time. You're going to see air support. You're going to see Louisiana State Police helicopter in the area to make sure that the officials and everyone gets to be a bird's eye view, to make sure that that area is not growing, to make sure those bubbles aren't getting any bigger. We're going to make sure those things are happening. You can see the National Guard is going to be here with its assets. It's got the ability to fly at night as we do, for our night vision, to be able to look at it at night to make sure there's no movement or something that might happen overnight. So you're going to see them here. Department of Health and Hospitals. You know, when you talk about groundwater and you talk about public health, those regional public health individuals will be here working with y'all to make sure if there's any detection of a public hazard, a health hazard, that they attend to it immediately. That's going to be their #1 priority. Let me tell you, right now there's been no detection of that, but we need to make sure we're here every minute of every day till this is fixed, to make sure if there is, that you're the first to know, not the last to know. That's what's most important to us. We're going to continue analyzing the air monitoring that we get from DEQ. DHH is going to do that. The groundwater, to make sure that the air you breathe and the water that you drink is safe. I mean, it's just that simple. It's a common sense approach that you would expect from us. We're going to be here to make sure that happens. You know, the bottom line is it's about normalcy. You just want to return to normalcy, and you want to have answers. We're here today. We're part of the community. We're involved in the community to make sure that you get those answers, and everything is done to make sure that public safety is our #1 priority.
Sheilaaliens, Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development. We are constantly looking at LA 70. I want to assure you right now we see no problems with the integrity of LA 70 or the adjacent state routes. But in an abundance of caution, we have people out on the road. You'll see them today, monitoring it, looking at it, assessing the integrity. So I want to assure you, because your safety on our roads is the first priority for us at DOTD, and I want to assure you that we will be looking at LA 70, the adjacent roads, to make sure that your travels are safe. We will also have engineers on the ground assessing the situation as well with the roads and the surrounding state routes.
Hello, Stephen Schutz with DNR. Just want to bring you up to date with the work that we have ongoing. The Commissioner of Conservation issued an emergency order yesterday requiring Texas Brine to drill a relief well into the abandoned cavern. This is intended to determine the structural status as well as the pressure of any gas that may be located in that cavern. Texas Brine must submit a permit to us by Monday, or the company will be fined $5,000 a day until we get that permit application. We are ready at DNR to issue the permit. We've been coordinating with others to make sure it's issued within hours to get of them getting the rig on, so they can get the rig on site as soon as possible. We want this done. We want it done immediately. Once the cause of the natural gas release and subsidence is established, the responsible parties will be held accountable, and they will be fined up to $5,000 per day until the situation is under control. The Commissioner's order was designed to be broad and allow for additional actions and any contingencies as our science team continues to evaluate. It will be used as needed to require responsible parties to take action and evaluate and remediate the source. We're not going to be resting on a single theory. We're going to be investigating every potential source, just as the pipelines were investigated, the caverns were investigated, plugged and abandoned wells were investigated. Over 50 of those. All of those things are being investigated. We will continue to have everyone look into what potential sources are out there beyond just the cavern. We're going to look at things beyond that, and we're going to make sure that they're properly evaluated and that you're informed of the activities that occur. We've had questions in the past few days of work that was done on a well in that cavern in 2011 based on some false information in a recent news article. I want to be clear on a couple of things. The last mechanical integrity test performed on that cavern, done late in 2010, showed that the cavern was whole. What we had was Texas Brine, in working to expand the top of the brine cavern for future mining operations, made a cut in the well casing several hundred feet above the top of the cavern and reported to us a potential breach of the salt dome. The bottom line is we're waiting on Texas Brine to submit their application. We're ready to issue the permit within hours of getting that, and we will be here until this problem is fixed. We won't rest until it is fixed, and we're going to make sure that these problems are addressed properly and quickly.
Good afternoon. I'm Peter Ricca with the Department of Environmental Quality. First of all, I'd like to say, under Secretary Hatch's directions, DEQ will continue to support all of our state and local efforts to make sure that your safety is at front. At a request from the parish government, we conducted radiation monitoring yesterday. It came back not above background. Weather permitting today, we will conduct another round of that, and we will continue our air monitoring. You can find the results of that on our website, so you can get up-to-date information. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Pat Santos, Deputy Director of the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. Our mission in this event is to serve as the multi-agency coordination center for all of the state agencies and to also garner assistance from other parishes as needed. This is not our first event that we've worked with Assumption Parish on over the years. We have a very good working relationship with the officials in this parish. I will tell you that although we have a lot going on in this state, this is our #1 mission, our #1 priority is right here in Assumption Parish. Thank you.
We're going to take a couple of questions, but I think the bottom line is it's your community. It's our community. We need to return to normalcy. We need to get y'all some answers. We need to make sure that Texas Brine starts drilling that relief well, held responsible for their actions, and any other responsible party held responsible for action for your quality of life. That simply is what today is all about. You're going to see a lot of movement, a lot of resources. We're here because of y'all. It's our state, it's our community. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to take some questions.
Yes, DNR said that they got a letter from Texas Brine that was dated January 21st of 2011 saying that they had a breach. You know, the question is what did DNR do after that point? Because there's no record as far as looking at DNR's website.
Right, the well, the breach was in the top portion of the cap rock up there, the salt, and it was not in the actual cavern itself. And at that time, that well was plugged and abandoned 2 months after that report. And a report of that plug and abandonment is in the DNR file that was submitted.
Did anybody monitor plugging up? Did anybody check it to see, you know, if there's any leakage, even though they plugged it?
Right, that has been evaluated, and the report of the plugging and abandonment has been submitted, and it has been reviewed, and it has met the criteria for the plugging and abandonment of the well.
When was that done?
When was that done?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure it was done at the time the information was submitted, and I'm sure it's been done recently again.
Is there documentation to that?
There's documentation that the information was submitted,
right,
and what was there, and yes, we have reviewed it. So I will tell you that information there, we're moving forward. We're looking for what is the cause of this. The only way we're going to know if this cavern is the cause of it is by drilling this relief well. And that's what we have to do, and we've got to move forward to get that answer so we can respond and get y'all back in your homes as soon as possible.